Hi Gemini, welcome to my channel. This is your Astro Guidance, the number one authority. Or that was before, that's the other show, the number one authority for astrology content. No, we're not. Okay. Anyhow, welcome. This is your Astro Guidance. We're gonna be looking at a very, very important planet that has moved finally. It takes the longest time to move to transit. So welcome to my channel. We're going to do your reading here based on sidereal Vedic astrology. If you want to learn more about your chart and how to interpret it, there is an upcoming workshop that I'm doing. It's called the Astro Guidance. You can sign up. Enrollment is down there. You can check it out. And then if you do not know your sidereal placement, Vedic astrology, you can also get your astronova or your birth chart down there. I highly recommend it. Just like when you're getting your passport and your driver's license, one must have their birth chart. Okay, so let's begin here. Now, for the Gemini ascendant, okay, again, I feel like Gemini feels like, why is it we never get anything good per se? Okay, in this channel. Okay? Because nothing is good when Saturn is in the 8th. Okay? Nothing is good. But Saturn is out of the 8th, which means it's good. Depending also on the dasha and the antardasha. If you are on a Mercury dasha and you're a Gemini ascendant, it is also Gemini ascendant, Gemini moon, health is going to be good. Because Mercury is going to be in charge. If Mercury in the first house, good times also. Can be studies is going to be there. But again, this is a transit. So as a transit, we look at it from the moon, and we don't want when a malefic planet transits the 8th, which is Saturn also. So these are what we call the Dustana houses. 3, 6, 8, and 12. And for the Gemini, it was at the 8th. Sudden things has been happening in your life, unpredictable things, especially if you are a moon in Gemini. So it could have been a very, very stressful time. I forgot what it's called, but because when Saturn transits the 4th house from the moon and 8th house from the moon, it gives you kind of like situation that you are unable to control. But you are an air sign, so you can go with the flow. But you are a masculine zodiac, so you can be very headstrong. No, I don't want to. You understand me? But the ability for you to adapt will be very, very good. But depends also on your ascendant nakshatra, because that plays a lot of role here. Okay? But don't get distracted because I discussed their whole life. I'm only going towards Saturn. We haven't even begun. That was just an intro. Now, it gets tricky for Gemini because Saturn rules the 8th and Saturn rules the 9th. Bhagya house is the 9th, and of course, 8th house is a Dustana house. So if Saturn rules your luck and at the same time you're suffering, then which is Saturn really? I would stay away from blue sapphire. Okay? That I can tell you. Okay? I don't care. I don't care. Do not ever wear blue sapphire. Now, with Saturn now entering Aquarius here in your 9th house, depending the dasha, antardasha, ashtak varga, navamsha, okay, arudha lagna, okay, depending on all those factors first. And if you have any planet sitting in Aquarius, okay, if we're just looking at Saturn, good times. Good times. Faith is restored. Relationship with the father restored. Okay? This is opportunity for higher degree. I know a Gemini ascendant who's going now, who's going to study in a very fancy university. Very fancy. Very fancy. Is university fancy or it should be a good school? Good school then, good school. I think universities are not supposed to be fancy. Okay? Good school. Yes. I know a Gemini ascendant who's going to take a short course in an Ivy League. Okay, 9th house. Yeah. It's 2.5 years. So it takes time. A lot of people, when they go into, meet an astrology consultation and all these things, they expect it like handed to them like, this is the future. If my name is Ursula, then I can give you that. Unfortunately not. Okay. So Saturn 9th house opportunity comes to you. Luck. This is this is your Bhagya house. So this is a time actually that you may even want something out of nowhere. Because this is the ninth house, your present luck, your opportunities can be in your career. Remember, luck is like being at the right place at the right time and seizing that opportunity. So if it's about your career, as if it's about your work, if it's about your studies, a lot of doors are opening. How did it open? Because Saturn was in the eighth. It removed a lot of obstacle. That's the only reason why you were suffering in the past 2.5 years. All those things was an obstacle for you to receive your luck. But a lot of people love to complain, and Saturn hates complain. The more you complain, the more life will become difficult. Never complain, because we only get what we deserve here. So now doors are opening. Oh, trust me, you will study, you will teach, you will meet a guru. Ninth house is guru. You will master a certain, can be like certain, like a spiritual something. You will attend a course, something about related to spirituality, religion. This can be an auspicious time also for you. 2.5 years, okay, to travel, okay, into different spiritual places. Is that what it's called? Like pilgrims, like pilgrimage, like that. So that's good. That's good. Now, again, depending on the sauce, okay? The sauce is if you have Jupiter in the ninth. I mean, Jupiter in Aquarius. Do you have K2 in Aquarius? Do you have Sun in Aquarius? All those are other sauce. So think of it like 1,000 Island is what? Mayo and ketchup. Mayo alone is easy. It's white, that's it. You get a little bit tangy flavor. You put the ketchup, in America we call it Thousand Island, but that's not a real Thousand Island. I call it disgusting mayo and ketchup, So you have a Sun in Aquarius, Saturn is there now, you're a Gemini ascendant, different flavor. Restrictions for your success will come because Sun is this bright energy. And Saturn now will say, no, now is not the time for you to shine. Now is the time for you to study. Then, after 2.5 years, you can shine. But Saturn will restrict any planet. You have K2. Any related to your auntie, uncle, especially if, in the ninth house, you may have some issue. In-laws will be an issue. Saturn and K2 in the ninth, okay? If you have K2 in your natal chart, you will have issues. If you're dating, you will have issues now with the parents of the person that you are dating. So all those are flavor, but those are just like, if I'm adding flavor. But just focusing on Saturn, okay, for the Gemini, it would look, okay, this is an aspect, we call it. Behind me is a building, is a neighbor, is a house. Saturn is there looking at me, that's drishti, directly looking at me. So any planet, okay, wherever it's sitting, it will always look opposite house. And that opposite house is always 7th house. So where is Saturn looking at right now? In the 3rd house for the Gemini, which is Leo. So it always have that. Strong there. What does it do? During this time, depending on the dasha and tordasha, because what Saturn does, wherever it looks at, they call it the evil eye, or it destroys that house. It will destroy that house. What is the 3rd house for Gemini? Courage is the 3rd house. Leo. Okay. How do you get faith? 9th house. Well, normally when we face our fear, when we have fear, that's when we strengthen our faith. And what is Saturn teaching the Gemini? Have faith, Gemini. I will destroy your courage, so that way you will pray more, you will become spiritual, okay, and you will believe in higher power. It's a challenging time because it would give you some sort of fear in the 3rd house, and 3rd house is, it's your courage house. So you may feel like, I can't do this, I can't do that, I'm scared, I can't do this, I can't, but you're not really scared. What it's doing to you, it's strengthening your faith. So have faith. This is what Saturn is telling you. Difficulties and complication can manifest with your siblings. 3rd house is siblings. Okay, if you have any planets in Leo, it will cause issues with your sibling. This is gonna become like a how to say this? You may have an issue with them. Like, why them? Because there's restriction from you. They can do whatever they want, but when it comes to you, you can never do what you want for yourself. Okay? But we love Saturn in the third, but we don't want it when it aspects the third. Now, you may have here with the third house, just be careful with your how to say this, your arms can be, you can also have just be careful with your heart also. Not that there's a breakup, like this may be like, coming through age, there's some sort of like challenges, in those body parts, okay, if health wise. Okay, now remember that there may be, because Saturn will look also, if I'm just gonna, look one of the other aspects over here, it will look at your income, and Rahu is there in the 11th house. So money is still continuous, okay? But it feels like it's gonna, it's continuous with Rahu in the 11th, so money is not a problem, but it may slow down. There may be some slowing down, but it doesn't stop. Rahu does not stop. Rahu does not stop. Okay. And Rahu is in the 11th. So money wise, it's there. But as soon as Rahu moves to sidereal Pisces, once it moves, after October, then that's a time that can be from slowing down to, because if it's just Saturn looking at the 11th, that gives you wealth. That gives you wealth. So from slow, and then all of a sudden, good times. Okay? Good times is coming. We want where not too malefic is in that house. But there's never, in the 11th house, there's never an exalted or debilitated planet there. So any planet actually thrives on the 11th. Any planet. So that's something good for you also. Okay? Now, there's going to be more into this. We're just touching the tip of the iceberg because Saturn right now is just 0 degrees. There's going to be more prediction that I'll be doing. I just need you to get this in your mindset, okay, on how it's affecting you in the 9th house. Your fate is going to be tested. Relationship with the father can be tested. And then you may have issues with in-laws. You may have issues with your other person's family, like that. You may have issues with your sibling, in the 3rd house. It restricts it will spark creativity though for you. It will unlock a lot of things that you probably thought like, oh, I want to create this, I want to do that. It will inspire you. It will inspire to be creative, resourceful, and like new projects will come also. This is very good because 3rd house is the birth of our desire. So what it's actually saying here, when it aspects the 3rd house, it will unlock a lot of your old desire. Like, okay, stop with that desire. This is the new thing that you need to be focused on. So it's really guiding you into something new, Okay, that's why I invite you to my Astro Guidance. It's right there. It's a basic class for everyone to understand what's going on in my chart, interpreting your chart. So it's gonna be down there. If you don't know your chart, get the Astronova, and then you will have your 2023 prediction. It's gonna be very good for you, especially like this is the opportunity time for you to make it as a success. Because Saturn is in the Bhagya house. A lot of doors are opening. You just have to choose which one and choose wisely. Now, depending on your dasha and antardasha, health-wise, it's going to be good. Health-wise, it's going to be good. You had issues when Saturn was in Sagittarius. That was 5 years ago. And then you had issues 2.5 years ago when Saturn was in Capricorn. Now is the time that health can be much better. But just on a side note, we don't want your 6th lord in the 12th house. Mars is still in the 12th house. We don't want no hospitalization because that can happen. There can be some significant losses, but Mars will move out of Taurus a little bit later after February. Okay, so that can improve also. Okay, but you need to focus on health, meditation, all those different things. But I'll teach more. Again, this is just a tip of the iceberg. And let me know, guys, what you want me to discuss in the future, astrology-wise. Put in the comments so that we'll be able to touch those subjects. I'll see you guys.